Well, we are live lunching in Israel on our big trip to Israel, and with all the exotic places and amazing things that we've done over the last few days, this may end up being the most talked about show. I have a feeling. It's unbelievable. Everywhere you turn, everyone's talking about Psagot and their delicious wines. And that's where we are today. You're listening on a Thursday, but we're actually here on Monday in the early part of the week during our trip to Israel, which has taken us to a variety of places and some really exciting things and some places that are really central to what's been happening in Israel over the last month. Today we get to enjoy a place that's central to Israel in more ways than one, both in terms of its past, present, and future. And we'll give you details about that in a moment. I do want to acknowledge that Shlomo Zwickler is here. He's been claiming for years on the air that he lives in the Shomron. Guess what? He really lives in the Shomron. I'm not kidding. He really lives nearby in Kochav HaShachar. We thought he spends all his time in Yerushalayim. His family might even think that he spends all his time in Yerushalayim. But he's here, and I want to give him a special shout-out today because he traveled to make sure to meet us here in the Psagot Winery. I can't blame him for wanting to be here. It's a beautiful place, and it's got some incredible product. So we're here for the next couple of hours, and we've already viewed some of the incredible history of this area and have seen what the Binyamin Regional Council, I hope I have that correct, have done here in their recent history. And I think it's time to start with some of our guests. Let's get Eli here. Eli is Director of External Affairs for the Yesha Council. He's going to take this seat right here, Bakasha, right over here, and will introduce us to this whole region and explain what's going on. We've heard of Yesha, and a lot of people in our audience certainly are familiar with Judea and Samaria to a degree. Maybe some of us don't realize just how amazing and incredible and important an area this is. And Eli's going to help me with the pronunciation of his last name. I'll try. Oh, sorry about that. Go right ahead.
I'll try.
It?
It's Piepsh.
Eli Piepsh is the Director of External Affairs for the Yesha Council. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
It all gets easier from there.
I guess, yeah. I'm just going to call you Eli. I'm going to cheat, and that's all I need to do. All right, so we start with a Yaakov Shweki song, Libi B'Mizrach. And the heart of the Jewish people is, of course, in the east, in the Holy Land. But then there's a special area of the Holy Land that, I don't know, has this incredible pull for the Jewish people. And that is, of course, the area of Judea and Samaria. We refer to it as Yesha, and you serve with the great people on the Yesha Council. So explain to our audience what this area is all about.
Yehuda v'Shomron is the heartland of Israel, called Lev Israel. It's where it all comes together. We fought for creating a new country, creating Israel. But until we came back to Yehuda v'Shomron after 67, we didn't get the heart of Israel. We didn't really get it. And now that we control Yehuda v'Shomron, we control all of Israel. We're in the place where not just we're making Jewish history now, but it's a place where Jewish history was before. It's a place where Jewish history is organic, where it naturally occurs, it has occurred, and it continues to occur.
The total number of people that live in Judea and Samaria at this point is around how many?
Around 400,000.
Right. And if people like myself and others, because there's a big Aliyah theme week for us, if people like myself and others would come from around the world and settle in places like Yehuda and Shomron and decide to live there, it would certainly change the entire scope of the political situation here.
400,001 is very good.
Right. You've said in fact, you wrote to me in advance of this conversation when we first knew we were going to visit Psagot, and you talked about the inevitability that this area, even though we've been concentrating on Gaza for the last month, and even beyond that, and even though people bring up the Golan and talk about the northern border and talk about efforts in the south, Yehuda and Shomron are always going to be at the forefront when it comes to the political situation in Israel.
Whether we like it or not, it's the reality. Because at the core of what Israel is, it's the Bible, the original Bible Belt. This is where everything happened. And you can't get away from it. You can run to Tel Aviv, you can go to the beaches, and these are all wonderful things. The startup nation, but without the soul of Israel, without the soul of the Jewish people, you're missing something, and that's why the fighting really is surrounding it. Even when we're fighting, the fighting just now by Gaza, one of the most significant issues was the 36 hours that the airport was shut down by a missile that came in from Gaza. And one of the telltale or the residuals of that is that there's a recognition across the board in Israel and across the board even outside of Israel that the Yehuda v'Shomron is so intrinsic to the security of Israel. And I don't know how well your listeners are aware of the geography of Yudav Shimon, geography of Israel, but the proximity of Ben Gurion Airport to Yudav Shimon is like a walk compared to a long drive from Gaza.
It's very close.
Very close. And it would be frankly impossible to protect the airport, protect the center of Israel, protect all the people in Israel. But that, again, that's the physicality, the etzem, the spirituality is really what it's all about. It's always what it's been about. So you think that the fight really is about security, but the reality is it's about the heart of Israel.
Ellie's Director of External Affairs for the Yesha Council. So now, aside from my idea of trying to convince 1 million people to actually live here, what is it that you and others in Israel, and if it applies, those outside of Israel, can do to shore up Yudan Shomron and guarantee that it remains rather in Jewish hands forever?
Well, first, those of us who live here, we're going to stay strong. When there are threats, we don't cower, we don't get scared away, we get stronger. And in fact, one of the beautiful aspects of Israel that you can only really appreciate when you're here, and I think your listeners are probably close to being here. Immediately after the 3 boys were kidnapped and eventually found out that they had been murdered, the reaction by Israelis was not necessarily for revenge. Certainly we want to go ahead and get the guys who did it and make sure that we're secure. But there was an immediate reaction to connect stronger to the land. And we set up immediate outposts which will eventually become communities. And that's what people have done. They've moved out of their communities, are essentially camping, but building areas, reclaiming the land, and demonstrating to our oppressors that you're going to try to scare us away. Not only are we not scared, but we're going to take that as an imperative, as an impetus to go ahead and connect ourselves even stronger to the land, demonstrating that you do something to harm us, we're going to be stronger and we're not going anywhere.
And the majority of these towns, if not all, this is the general direction of how they were founded, right?
Unfortunately, to a certain extent, that is how it goes. But I think it speaks to the etzem of who we are as a people. That we're here, there's no place else to go, and there's a threat, and we're going to show that we are not running away. We're finished with running away.
Well, I thank you for joining us here today. Any final message you want to give to this audience?
Final message is, right now this is the time you're coming here. It demonstrates the level of solidarity that we have with the diaspora Jews to Israel and the Jews here. I think that to the extent that your audience can do the same, whether it's coming here and visit, that would be the ideal. Actually, the ideal would be to make Aliyah, but coming here and visiting, buying products from Yudav Shimon, Psagot Winery. We have a tremendous amount of business owners who are here who could use your support, and I think it'll make you feel good. It'll make you feel a lot better when you are using our products and also benefiting the people who live here.
And just like the winery, by the way, there are a lot of other places in Yesha that have beautiful visitor centers and have, products and different cool things to see that people would want to visit.
We have wineries, we have olive oil, we have chocolates, we have stuff that's healthy and stuff that's not healthy, but it's all good for your soul.
There's a lot of stuff going on here, that's for sure. Ellie, I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
Director of External Affairs for the Yesha Council. Kol HaKavod. Continue your amazing work for the Jewish people. More coming up as we speak to you from the Psagot Winery. This is a Nachum Segal Network special, which you're likely listening to in its original form on a Thursday afternoon. And as I said, this is going to be one of the most talked about shows because it involves one of American Jewry's favorite things, and that's good kosher wine. And we'll find out just how good. Well, that's a reality, isn't it? We'll find out. Have you ever heard of a Kiddush Club? It exists. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that people enjoy a good cup of kosher wine, or good glass, I should say. Psagot is coming up with some of the incredible offerings that they have and a little history of this incredible boutique winery. It's all happening here if you keep it at the Nachum Segal Network.
Diddy die, die, da dee die, ay, ay, da dee die, ay, ay, da da dee da da. Diddy die, die, da dee die, ay, ay, da dee die, ay, ay, da dee da da. Diddy die, die, da dee die, ay, ay, da dee die, ay, ay, da dee da da. Diddy die, die, da dee die, ay, ay, da dee die, ay, ay, da dee da da. Diddy die, die, oh, diddy die, die, oh,
It's the Nachum Segal Network with our historic visit to the Psagot Boutique Winery in Israel. This is a winery that has been discussed during our programming many, many times. I believe our friend Leo in Teaneck, New Jersey is carrying Psagot wines, because I've seen it there. He's one of the most popular, right? He's one of the most popular fellows in New Jersey. Leo on West Englewood Avenue in Teaneck. That's just one example. I don't want the other retailers to be upset. That's just one example of a great place where our New York, New Jersey listeners can obtain Psagot wines. Psagot, as we said, is part of the Binyamin region of Israel. As you move up, it would be Yehuda, Binyamin, the Shomron, right, as you move up the map. And here, as a spokesperson for the Binyamin Regional Council, it's Miri Ovadia. Shalom, and welcome to our show.
Shalom, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I appreciate that very much. For our listeners' benefit, other places aside from Psagot that would be included in Binyamin, give me a couple of examples.
Well, the famous one would be Shiloh, which is actually where the women's festival is taking place today. Thousands of women are on their way to dance in the vineyards since today is the 15th of Av.
Right, Tu B'Av.
Tu B'Av, Ofra, Psagot, Eli, which has a very big pre-army yeshiva academy for young boys. Neve Tzuf is a place where I grew up. That's just a few names out of 42 communities that are in the boundaries of the Binyamin region.
Right. How all these communities are able to work together because they're part of the regional council, right?
Exactly.
It's the power of togetherness. The power, the more people and the more towns that are involved, obviously, the more strength it has. Does the region feel that strength? Is there great cooperation? Does it feel the camaraderie and the love between communities so that people in this area can accomplish more and more?
I can definitely say so. Even just traveling around, trying to get the feeling of lives here in the communities. Some of the communities have regional high schools, so that's where most of the youth goes and studies, and that's how we get to know each other already from a very early age. A lot of marriages between youngsters in different communities. In happy times, I can definitely say that there's a lot of strength that is felt here. And also, unfortunately, in more challenging times, as we had a few weeks ago when Gilad Sha'er was one of the 3 boys who was kidnapped. He was the community of Talmon, which is one of the Binyamin communities. And I would say, unfortunately, under those very, very tough circumstances, we really, really felt the strength and the big hug of all the communities and the love that was put to comfort and to help the people of Talmon in those difficult times.
Miri Ovadia is here, spokesperson for the Binyamin Regional Council. Not that numbers are the most important thing, but are we seeing growth in this region? Are we seeing continuous growth in this region?
Definitely. People love to scare our brothers and sisters in the world and say that, the demography is in risk here and that the Arabs are closing upon us from all the different directions. That's actually wrong. We know that for many reasons, the Arab population is actually decreasing, while in Israel, it's the only country in the world where the population is growing and growing and the birth rate is growing. I'm one of 7 siblings. I've only donated 1 to the demographic so far, but I'm hopefully planning also on a big family. And specifically here in Judea and Samaria, if you want to compare it, you want to use numbers. So around Israel, the growth rate is about 3%. Here in Judea and Samaria, it's 8%. We're talking about a large percentage of children per family. Family values here are something that's very valuable to everybody. And I can also see that from the regional council that is in charge of the 42 communities, 60,000 people, the biggest worry and the thing that gets the most resources is education. That's the thing that the council is most involved with, finding solutions and new classrooms every single year, new kindergartens, new daycares. And you know what? I think that's lovely, that is really the main thing that we're all busy with these days.
Do North American Jews enjoy their visits to the Binyamin region?
I would definitely say, since we have 6 or 7 boutique wineries here in Binyamin, that's probably the highlight. But together with that, on the touristic side, we have so much to offer here. We have desert hospitality, like in Eretz Bereshit, Genesis land.
Great place.
Shiloh is the highlight, especially today, whilst there's a women's festival that's dedicated to the women of the warriors and the women of the South. So that's not only solidarity between ourselves and of the people of Binyamin, but it's our solidarity with all the residents of Israel and people from all over. We love having visitors from the States, from Europe, from all over, and we're trying to improve our ability to offer English-speaking tours and English-speaking movies like the one you just saw, signposts to really just make it easier for anybody who wants to come here and visit and enjoy the region of Binyamin and everything that it has to offer.
Is there a clearinghouse online for people to see what's available in the
So
Binyamin region?
I'm so glad you asked that because there's a new English website. It just went on air last week, and I'm going to give you the address. The address is www.binyamin.org.il/en for English.
All right, and if people go there, they'll be able to check out what's available in this region.
Exactly, and there'll be more photos available, and you can also contact us through the website, and we're more than happy to help out and give you suggestions of what to do in your visit to this area.
Very nice. Thank you so much for joining us and
Pleasure.
for being here today with us. We greatly
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Happy Tu B'Av to everybody.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
It's Tu B'Av week for us, an entire week-long celebration of Tu B'Av. It is the Nachum Segal Network as we're live lunching here in Psagot, and we will explore the Psagot Boutique Winery next, if you keep it right where you got it. Listening around the world on the NSN app. We appreciate that. Remember, you can comment on the app as you listen to the show. All you got to do is go to the app's homepage and literally comment in the comment section. We'll see it there, and we'll certainly respond when appropriate. Well, we mentioned the Tu B'Av week. May as well play a song in honor of those who are getting married this week. Odi Shama. This is the Nachum Segal Network. Well, we figured Tu B'Av week. Why not continue with the wedding theme? Why not? There's Oji Sama. All right, it's time to have some fun. It's time to have some fun. Let me take out my handy guide. You have the video rolling? Let me take out my handy guide to Psagot Winery. Here it is. Which one you want, folks? Which one you like? They have some incredible ones here. I even noticed, by the way, and I'll ask our guest in a moment. I even realized there is a dessert wine from Psagot. You see it? It's there on the chart somewhere. Where is it? Am I pointing to it? It's on the other side. It's over here. There's a dessert wine, perfect for someone like myself. Eli says we're going to break out a bottle in just a couple of minutes. So there it is. That's the guide. Let me introduce Eli Sales, who we know each other for a long time, but don't see each other often enough. There's always a few years break in between. Welcome to the show, and thank you for hosting us here today.
Thank you for coming.
I appreciate that. It's great to be here. And let me introduce Yaakov Uriah. Yaakov Uriah is a winemaker. Shalom, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How do you become a winemaker, by the way? What do you need to do?
Well, we really don't make wines.
Meaning?
Yeast do that.
Yeah, so what do you do? Do you ever roll this whole thing or not?
People have been making wines for thousands of years. Modern winemaking is more into understanding the process, controlling it, taking it to where you want to go, assuring quality.
How did this wine get to be so high quality, gold medal winning, so popular with the kosher wine drinking community? How did it happen?
The truth is that the fruit that are coming from here are amazing. Psagot is the biggest regional winery, and it's mostly regional grapes. Around 90% of the grapes that the winery uses is grown here locally in the Shomron. And the fruit quality is extremely high.
You know, when you drive in the Shomron, or more accurately Binyamin, when you drive in this area, it doesn't look like it's quite ripe, excuse the pun, for grape growing. It doesn't look like it's such an area that would, that would be able to produce produce. Explain why it works around here.
Well, the microclimate is basically ideal. It's far from the ocean. We have nice day and night temperature changes. We're in limestone soil, and we're high, which gives a cool climate for the ripening of the grapes.
All those are a key to making it a good grape.
Oh yeah.
All right. How's the and the harvest season would be coming up normally, but I guess
We
this year's gonna
actually
be a little
started
different.
already. Tomorrow we're getting in more white grapes, and we got already a few last week.
Right.
And the red grapes will be coming in towards the end of August, beginning of September.
So the whole harvest is like what, a 3-4 month period? How would you describe it?
2.5 months is the harvest, and then the fermentations and the processing of the wine takes a lot longer.
All right. Wow. How long have you been here, Psagot?
Oh, I'm a newcomer. A month and a half.
That's it, huh? Unbelievable. Eli Sales, okay, so now we understand a little bit about why the geography and topography allows for a good grape to grow here. I got I got the 2 minutes on that, and now I'm an expert all of a sudden. But it seems like this region has some advantages that can create really good tasting grapes and eventually some great wine. How has Psagot become such an international sensation already? It's a very short period of time, relatively speaking, right? Just over 10 years or so.
Just about 10, yeah.
And how did it develop into this international reputation?
Well, it does begin with the wine and with the grapes and how effective we've been in producing the wine. A lot of it also has to do with the founder of the winery, Yaakov Berg,
Right.
who has tremendous passion for what he does. And a big part of it has to do with who you partner with, in the sense of who's going to help promote that wine. And I don't mind giving them a plug. And Royal Wine is our importer and our distributor for the most part in the United States. And they've done an incredible job in working with us, helping us grow, telling us to be patient, giving us pointers along the way on how to be patient. And
If anybody knows it, it's them, right?
and over the course of time, with the wines winning, competitions and gold medals, and the visiting center with people coming to see the winery and getting to know this area. It's brought to tremendous success.
Of all these wines that you produce, which is the one that the expert wine drinker would find to be spectacular? I know they're all great, and they're all, you have a Cabernet Sauvignon. There are a lot of those around the world. I know this is a very high quality, good one. Which is the wine that gives Psagot its, even further push and even greater reputation?
Well, the Adome, which is our blend, the Bordeaux blend, is our flagship wine.
That's this one right here.
That's that. And that has kind of put us on the map because we've actually, whenever we send that in, into a competition, we're always, we're not even surprised anymore when it wins an award. And people really just enjoy the wine. However, I think, and Yaakov could, tell me and tell us a lot better in terms of a wow factor. It's the single vineyard Cabernet Sauvignon that really, really impresses people. I've met a number of wine drinkers who don't necessarily been to a function. We're sitting together. All of a sudden, somebody sticks a glass, in their hand and asks them to take a taste, and they're in the middle of a sentence, they're drinking, and their eyes light up. And for somebody like me, it's just it's a great, it's tremendous joy to see somebody, enjoy a glass of wine, and that single vineyard is that wine.
Yaakov, what is the advantage when a cab is a single vineyard cab?
Well, single vineyards is something that is there to represent a specific quality, and you could do it for marketing reasons, but in this case there's a real genuine quality that shines through the wine that really justifies that wine for being a single vineyard. It's special quality that that when you taste it, you realize this really should be bottled separately.
You've had many kosher cabs in your life, correct?
Yes, I did.
And this one, you would say, is simply,
I really think the quality of the fruit is just really spectacular. It really justifies its separate bottling.
We're going to ask our expert wine sommelier if he agrees, and I bet you he will. On the Edome, it says here, the winery's premier red wine features a Bordeaux blend of Cabernet Sauvignon, Petit Verdot, Cabernet Franc, and Merlot. Is that an unusual combination? I know nothing about wine, remember. Is that an unusual combination? Is that something that nobody else has ever tried? What is with this Edome wine?
There's grapes coming from all over the world. And even in France, where most of the international grape varietals that we use today are from there, there's different regions in France that grapes come from. There's the Loire Valley, there's the Rhone Valley, and there's an area called Bordeaux. And those grapes that you just mentioned are traditionally from that area.
Correct.
And they work very well together. That means if you take a Grenache and mix it with those wines, it will be odd. Those varietals work very good with each other, and usually around the world you'll find blends from those varietals.
If someone like myself is up to the dessert wines and really appreciates a good dessert wine, have you seen people like me graduate to Cabernet Sauvignon and other high-quality wines in a short period of time?
Surely, yes.
It does happen.
Not only it does happen.
I shouldn't lose faith or hope.
It's not a matter of faith or hope. It's a matter of context.
Meaning?
If you drink wine with the proper food,
right,
you'll have a different experience than having the wine by itself. And a dessert wine, a lot of times you will have at the end of the meal just to enjoy it.
Correct.
And if that's what you like, then you might be shunned off by the sourness or the bitterness of a regular red wine in context of drinking it by itself. If you drink it with the proper food, it's a synergy. You'll get something better from each of those components by consuming them together.
So the Edome pairs well with what? Give me one example of something. If someone's walking into the retailers that I'm mentioning during this show and they are buying some Psagot wine, they want to try this Edome, what should they be pairing it with?
Red meat.
Simple as that.
Simple
a
as
good
that.
piece of steak.
Definitely.
Have a glass of Edome by your side, and you'll understand the drinking experience of that particular bottle of wine better than if you would just drink it plain.
Well, First of all, yes. But if you really want to understand the quality of a wine, it's always good to do comparative tasting. You take a few wines next to each other, and then you really are able to understand the nuances of the differences.
Where are you from, by the way?
New York,
New York City.
Washington Heights.
There's some winemakers from Washington Heights.
Apparently.
Apparently is right. All right, we're spending more time with our guests here from the Psagot Winery. It's the Nachum Segal Network as we continue here on jmnam.org, nachumsegal.com. You have heard something already about the Cabernet Sauvignon single vineyard. Obviously, it's on our recommended list already. The Edom wine seems to be the one that is setting this winery apart in certain areas and with a certain reputation even more than others. Those are two to keep in mind. We'll give you more coming up. And yes, I'll get to that dessert wine, I guarantee you, at some point in the next little while right here at the Nachum Segal Network. Keep it right here. We're at the Psagot Winery. Oh, and Eli, we should mention that there are a lot of people traveling at the end of August. Obviously, this is a very big week because people are going to be leaving over the next few days for Israel. And obviously, they're going to be here for Sukkot as well. The best way to either reserve or get information about a tour of this facility, what should people do?
They should look in our website, www.psagotwines.com, and you'll be able to make a reservation.
All the information's right there?
All the information, yes.
That's right there online. And when they come here, they'll see a whole bunch of great things. They'll see a wonderful presentation like we saw, a great movie, I must say. They'll be able to look at and, I assume, sample the wines, right?
Yes.
An opportunity to sample the wines. And you have great accessories here as well that they could take home not only as wine accessories but as souvenirs from Israel.
Correct.
All right, simple as that. So there you go. Everybody check it out. I guess all you got to do is search online for Psagot Winery and you'll be able to enjoy your visit here, whether it's, again, in August or September or for the holiday of Sukkot. More coming up. This is the Nachum Segal Network. We'll explore more of these wines at the Psagot Winery. Keep it right where you got it, everybody. We are spending time at the Psagot Winery here during our visit to Israel. Certainly one of the more talked about shows, I guarantee you that, as we explore the world of Psagot and their incredible winery, beautiful tasting center here, and a visitor center which you can enjoy when you get to Israel, whenever that may be. Eli Shapiro decided to be here with his family. They are visiting from Far Rockaway, right? It's Far Rockaway?
Yes, Rockaway.
And you've made a habit of visiting wineries in Israel, and it sounds like Psagot's one of your favorites. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Psagot is one of my favorites. You can look out the window to your left. The view is unbelievable.
It's remarkable, yeah.
And I've long felt that buying wines, particularly from regions like where Psagot is located, you're supporting the legitimacy of Jews being in this area. I think it's very
100%.
important.
Yes, you're making a big statement in more ways than one when you buy wines from the Psagot Winery. Do you have a favorite? Or I don't know, with wine people, I'm not sure if that's a legitimate question or not. Do you have a favorite wine from Psagot?
Well, the exciting thing about wines in general, different from Coca-Cola, is that every year there's a new opportunity to taste something.
Correct.
And I just today over here I had their 2011 Cabernet Franc, which was fantastic. One of my favorites over the years is their 2009 Single Vineyard Cabernet, which is a fantastic wine. And that's really what's exciting about tasting wines, is that every bottle, every year, every grape is completely different, and you never know what you're going to get. So sometimes you're disappointed, but with Psagot, generally not.
When you see the terrain and the view when you're driving up here, do you sometimes wonder, like I do, how on earth they grow grapes here? Or are you willing to believe that this is a good grape growing area?
Good question. Yeah, it's hard to believe in such an arid location. You know, I've been down in Arad, speaking of arid, where the Atir winery is. They make wonderful grapes as well, and they literally, the JNF, built a forest in the middle of the desert, which is quite remarkable. And they're growing grapes, and here as well. They're growing grapes, and it really, I guess, speaks to the expertise of the winemakers. Yaakov Berger has really created something special from ancient tools of winemaking.
Right, and what seems to the average person as an area that has no potential for any growth when it comes to grapes, produce, etc. And look what they've done here. It's amazing. Now, you're here during a week when a lot of people decided not to come to Israel, and I mean that seriously.
Yes.
There are people who were scheduled to come this week and found a way out of it, so to speak. I would guess that was never a consideration for your family.
We basically felt as long as the planes are flying, we were going to come. We do have a lot of friends that canceled their trips, which was disappointing for us in some ways. And in other ways, it's been great. There's plenty of rooms on the tours. We've been able to book, some hard-to-get tours without a problem. I did create a Twitter feed, Stand W Holy Land, just because I sort of recognized that with all, I would say, we knew 3 families that had canceled in our immediate peer group.
Right.
So, although I wouldn't say that I'm a leader in any way, but the fact that we were going, I think, to some degree did make a statement, and I wanted to be able to let people know that it's safe here, it's wonderful here. When we were in Israel, when we were in America, everyone said, "You're going to Israel, you're crazy." When we were in Shalim, we were going to Hebron, everyone said, "You're crazy." And each time we...
You're getting crazier and crazier.
Yeah, so it's just been, but it's been wonderful. It's really... we feel completely safe. It's the opportunity to give back to Eretz Yisrael and come and spend money and tour and show our children, show our family that this land is amazing. And at any point, even in a conflict, we did cancel our walking tour of Gaza. That was...
you felt that would be the purpose.
But otherwise, it's just been really remarkable and a great opportunity for the kids.
Who's here from your family that you can mention on the show? Who
So
are we saying hi to?
we have my wife, Chaya Shapiro.
Thank
we
you
have
for being here.
Sarah Leah Shapiro,
Thank you.
who joined me 2 years ago for her bas mitzvah trip.
Nice.
This trip is really in honor of Sima Shapiro,
Hi, Sima.
who will be bas mitzvah this December, Shana Shapiro, and Chaim Shapiro, who is grabbing some more Diet Coke.
There you go. All right. L'chaim to the Psagot Winery, right?
Yes.
They're doing a good job.
I mentioned to you off air that I personally feel a little guilty when I buy French wines or Italian wines. Really, people should buy the Israeli wines, and the Israeli wines, particularly in areas that are questioned,
debated, contested, challenged
by other people. Really, the more you can support this, the more give legitimacy to our right to this land, and I think it's so important.
Thank you, Eli. Great
Thank
meeting
you.
Eli Shapiro for Rockaway here with his family, Psagot Winery. They're the beneficiaries of a great family visit today. We're at the Nachum Segal Network. We are going to do our wine tasting, which is under the jurisdiction of Miriam L. Wallach. She's the wine tasting expert at the Nachum Segal Network, and she's going to make sure that we are well taken care of as we sample some of the wines and make some recommendations to our listeners. Already you've gotten some. More is coming up, or more are coming up, I should say, here at the Nachum Segal Network. This is the brand new song from Lenny Solomon, written for this summer of challenge in Israel. Here it is as we continue at jmnam.org and nachumsegal.com.
זמנים קשים, העם ביחד, כולם מוכנים, העם מאוחד, צהל מגן, העם מעודד, מגובשים, העם תומך, נצח ישראל לא ישקר, עם ישראל לנצח, נצח ישראל לא ישקר, עם ישראל לנצח, כולם עוזרים, העם מתנדב, משתוקקים, רוצים שלווה, ממשיכים, עם של צדק, כולם ביחד, עם ישראל חי, נצח ישראל לא ישקר, עם ישראל לנצח, נצח ישראל לא ישקר, עם ישראל לנצח, נצח ישראל לא ישקר, עם ישראל לנצח, נצח ישראל לא ישקר, עם ישראל לנצח.
Lenny Solomon, he created that brand new song, Am Yisrael HaNetzach, during the war in Gaza, praying for the safety of our IDF soldiers and that the IDF and IAF are able to keep the enemy at bay and that there won't have to be any more sacrifices among our soldiers. You're listening to the Nachum Segal Network. We're visiting the Psagot Winery here in Israel. It's something that you can do. You can actually visit the Psagot Winery, Psagot. Just search it online, and during your next visit to Israel, you have your cab driver, your tour leader, whoever it may be, to bring you down to the Binyamin region and enjoy some great wine drinking and some great presentations, interactive game room, and a whole bunch of stuff that they have here at the winery. If you don't see the Psagot wines in your retail outlet, wherever it may be in the United States or around the world, you could certainly contact the folks here, or contact your retailer directly. When they hear from people like you, they want to make sure that they have the different items that are being sought after, the different wines that you're looking for. So if you don't see the wines that we're talking about today, just tell your retailer, and they'll make sure to find out how they could bring it into their specific store through their distributor. It's as simple as that. Here we are during a very interesting week, a week where we wish more people would show solidarity with Israel by being here. But if you're not officially, if you haven't planned your trip to Israel yet, it's not too late to do so, whether it's for the rest of this summer, of course, for Sukkot and the rest of 2014. So we encourage you to do so as we sit here in the Binyamin region. What do you say, Miriam L. Wallach?
I say I want to know why you're not taking me here for lunch more often.
What is this wine that's sitting in front of you?
Well, you'll have to wait and find out.
I mean, okay, you can't reveal which wine you've been drinking?
No, because you're going to do a whole thing with Yaakov, and we're going to taste the wines and talk about the different notes that you can taste in the different wines.
The different notes?
Yep.
Like musical notes?
Try again. See, you haven't even had anything to drink yet.
There are really winemakers from Washington Heights? Is that true?
So it seems. I wouldn't have believed it.
Are there vineyards in Washington Heights?
There's a lot in Washington. Nowhere but here.
Are there wine vats in Washington Heights? Are there wine stores in Washington?
I don't know. There are a lot of stores that have sneakers wrapped in plastic. I don't know what they really sell, but whatever.
I don't know what's going on there.
I don't know.
All right, so our winemaker, who's from Washington Heights, is going to join us, and we'll be able to explore some of these wines.
Which side of Washington Heights? Are you on the Breuer side?
Very good question. I don't know.
Are you from the Breuer side of Washington Heights?
Where were you? What street were you on? Oh, my God.
Forget it. You're not from Washington Heights.
He was in Washington Heights 40 years ago.
He was in Washington Heights when Dr. Revel was still the president of YU.
We don't
it doesn't count.
We don't consider that
Forget
being from
about
Washington
it.
Heights. All right, so he'll join us, right?
Yes, Yaakov's going to join us, and Yaakov is going to school us.
Oh, no.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't like school.
I know. I like school.
Do I have to take notes or just smell the notes?
I like school when
notes?
It looks like this. By the way, I've taken some pictures of the outside of the exterior of the winery. They have weddings here. They have bar mitzvahs here.
Right, we should mention that.
They have brisim here. They have... they had a pidyon haben here recently. We know somebody having a bat mitzvah here.
Their storage facility literally turned into a wedding hall.
It's beautiful.
No,
it is absolutely, absolutely beautiful. I think I'm very much intending on bringing my family here, please God, when we come for Sukkot. It's quite remarkable. And something that you and I noted, Nachum, that we just should mention that we noticed also on our drive to Psagot is the constant construction that's taking place that has become part of the scenery in Israel, no matter what city we have been in. And frankly, we have toured a lot of the country this trip.
This was one of those active trips.
Yes, we were not just stationed and